Hype as hell. Alright guys, what is up? Welcome in. If you guys are just tuning in for the first time today, welcome into the WCS North American Qualifiers. Today is day number 1. Tomorrow, same time, day number 2, and then of course on the weekend, I think it's Saturday, is going to be the wild card qualifier for those that were able to get 200 wins. And I'm pretty sure have to be Masters and GM from last season. So, nonetheless, we're starting down here at the bottom right side of the map. Our random man hitting his main race, Protoss. It is MYiBalloon. Do you believe the insanity? Do you want to see Balloon in Challenger? I do, man. Balloon's a freaking awesome dude, by the way. Like, we're gonna like stop the obsing in the stream, and like I don't care what happens, like who builds what, but. Like, I have to stop and, like, make a note that just how freaking awesome Balloon is as a person. Like, this isn't, like, me just, like, you know, on my knees, like, you know, blah, blah, blah. But, like, he's just such a nice person, such a funny guy. He's really cool. His English, the best part about it, he's just like really good with his English, and he's really funny about it too as well. Like once he gets a little bit more comfortable around the people he knows, like he doesn't mind like shit talking and like being a little bit funny. Like he has a great personality along with him, and I think he's one of those guys that, you know, kind of hit that gold mine with his personality. Along with I think when I think of like Balloon and a personality coming out and streaming and stuff like that, I think of like Harston, because really kind of coming to their own this year, and really just good person. Good to see them and like to see where they're at now. There comes a time and point where, you know, do you want to find yourself as a personality and an entertainer, or do you want to find yourself as a player? And I think Balloon really wants to break that point of just kind of being known, and rather be known for as a player, as a top performer. He did get pretty deep in the MLG Open pool bracket, and that thing was insane. So hopefully with all the practice that he's been doing, all the playing that he's been doing, he's going to be ready for this. Of course, over here at the top left side of the map, we're going to be checking out IvDArium, a young gun himself, a Protoss. So we're going to be kicking things off with a PvP. Very oddly enough, we're actually opening up on Deadwing. Now, I broadcasted 2 days of WCS Europe, and I did not think we were even once on this map. No, we were once. We were once. I'm sorry. It was once. It was a Demaga game. It was a weird ZVZ. Those videos were really weird, but to see it this early as a first map, very, very just kind of like quirky. I'm not used to seeing that. And again, personal opinion, I'm not a big fan of the Deadwing. I hope the map eventually gets scrapped out, or, you know, enough people whine on BNet and Reddit to the point where it might even get taken out. That would be really nice, because I think it's a waste of a map, and it's like an automatic veto. So it's not really one of those things unless you have like some other side motivation. You're not going to really enjoy the map. I don't know. I feel like free 3-base for reserves right now, as a Protoss player, it's kind of very sketchy. Now, because they are cross positions, it might create a little bit more of an interesting game. As you can see, Balloon is adding on that Stargate, and that's a really good idea, because you got to cover a lot of ground with these positions. This is about as far away as you could get on any map. And something like an Oracle could do a lot of damage. Now, Arium thinking that he's going to be going the Blink route. Of course, 3 on gas on each side. A little bit of a giveaway when you haven't seen a Stargate just yet. Now, there is also the option. There is the option. He could go for DTs, but right now what I'm looking... the only reason he would go for DTs is because it's such a distance map. He would drop a pylon, he would try to harass with DTs, buy himself some more time while he gets an expansion up behind everything. So we'll have to see what he decides to do. He's adding on 2 more gates, so he has to go for Blink, right? Okay, yeah, there we go. I was about to say, I'm like, damn, I'm not too stupid, am I? Like I've watched enough European PvP. Like, European PvP is, we're gonna macro. Like, we're not gonna do a lot of aggression. Like, once in a while we might see some like 3-gate Stargate, but most times we'll see either like double gate Robo, or we'll see double gate expansion into Robo. Something like very, very safe. Something that they're not gonna get caught off guard by. Now, there we have Balloon's Oracle. It's going to be flying up here to the north left side of the map, and we'll see how much damage is going to get done right now under that mineral line. We do have the Mothership Core, we have a Stalker, and we have a Sentry. Of course, Mothership Core invalid unless it can activate a Photon Overcharge, and indeed it does. So, going to make sure not only does this Oracle make sure it's just not able to get any harass, but make sure it dies along the way. Now, is this one of those things where, you know, Arium might regret doing such a thing because he activated Photon Overcharge so fast? Could be, but At the same time, he hasn't lost any workers over this. He might lose a pylon, but you know, right now the unit advantage is fairly even for both players. We'll lose a zealot. Takes down the pylon. Now it's Stalker versus Stalker crime. One goes down on the other side. A sentry falls. Now it's 4v4 of Stalkers. Balloon places a pylon up onto the high ground, saves that Stalker from the low ground. We'll lose another one. And not gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of Balloon's position right now, because right now you lost a lot of units right there, as well as probably the inevitable loss of pylons all the way across through his natural and probably even by his third base. There is a second Oracle right now coming on in. Looks like, is there enough energy, or is there even a Mothership Core anymore? No, there isn't. So Mothership Core is gone. IvDArium is walking out and looks like he wants to commit to this attack with a blink. And meanwhile, while he's doing that, there is going to be one beautiful Oracle, very happy to find itself a very empty mineral line. And one worker goes down, two go down. We'll check out how much damage he actually gets done. 3, 4, maybe no. Blink's coming up right behind it. We do have the Phoenix out as well. Balloon, you know, doing a good job, buying himself some time. It was able to pick off some workers, as well as also find him to give himself a worker lead right now, 26 to 22. You can see that neither player has expanded yet, and I mean, Balloon's reasoning is because, well, if a huge blink force comes across the map, I'm not going to be able to hold it if I put down minerals into an expansion. IvDArium's side, it looks like he's just still a little bit wary for any follow-up of any attack. Say another Oracle comes on through, or that same Oracle recovered its energy and does the same thing again. Balloon for now controlling his high ramp. Forward pylons getting placed, and I do find it interesting that IvDArium decided to keep this many Stalkers back. I didn't think he would have to be this worried about it, something like this. And when you're dealing with this amount of units, fortunately he does have Blink Stalkers, but like 2 Void Rays, you're going to have a little bit of a tougher time breaking on through, especially up into the high ground. Now, fortunately for Balloon, this is buying himself a little bit more time to produce some units, get his defenses properly positioned. More Stalkers are going to be coming up forward. Leads with the healthy Stalkers up front. We'll blink back. Good blink right there. Going to save another Stalker, saving another Stalker. And at this point, good play by IvDArium, man. He is making the most out of these units, but the problem is he's only got a few healthy ones, and he's got a lot of injured ones, unfortunately, right now. And eventually there's going to come a time and point. If he doesn't break this, he's going to have to think about backing off, because really these attacks up into the high ground, up into the ramp, are not going to be worthwhile. He's going to be throwing away red Stalkers. You're only going to be able to blink away so far from him. And he does continue the pursuit. Meanwhile, over here, what the hell happened? Okay, I was about to say, I'm like, did Oracle fly in again? No, it looks like he just coughed that Revelation spell on him. Or Envision, sorry, Envision spell. Is it Revelation or Envision? I keep confusing the two of them. Revelation. Now Balloon down about 5 supply, but that really doesn't mean too much when he's working the high ground right now for himself. IvDArium deciding to take an expansion on the backside of this, very smart, at least giving himself a little bit of a contingency plan. Meanwhile, Balloon forming some more Stalkers. We take a look at the unit count right now. Total 17 Stalkers to 13, but reminder, there is a Void Ray also within the mix. For Balloon without Blink, it is a tough position, I want to say, to be in, because you can't realistically move down your ramp without getting force fielded off, and we'll see if he decides to do so. Oh, he actually does have Blink. Oh my goodness. When he did have Blink. Okay, anyways, back to the fight. I'm like, I focused too much on the other side of the map during that fight then. He decides to move down and actually getting a pretty damn good fight out of this. Both players blinking really well away from each other, and looks like just barely Balloon's going to be able to etch us out, fortunately, because of the Void Ray. The Void Ray dishing out so much damage, and 5 Stalkers versus 4, 3, 2, and now down to 1. Look at that, 1 per Stalker. Just Jason Bourning a Mission Impossible its way out of that way, out of all those Stalkers. Crazy stuff right there. So IvDArium, unfortunately, is going to be forced home right now, and wow, no, I really thought that Balloon was at a disadvantage. I completely missed the fact that he actually was able to did get that blink upgrade during that whole entire time. Balloon's going to be taking his expand right now, very late, but I mean, it's not like he had really much of another choice, adding that Robo as well. Meanwhile, back at home over here, we do have another Revelation spell to check out what's going on. Now, back at home, IvDArium does have enough Stalkers to deal with this force right here. we'll see how ballsy Balloon gets, and it looks like he's going to get a little bit more ballsy than I thought he would. Takes out one stalker. Look at that Oracle, man! That Oracle's like, I'm not going to go down without putting up a fight. I like that attitude right there. Takes out a couple more units, and I think that should pretty much even things out for the most part. Again, IvDArium already does have his expansion down, so you might get a little bit of a... He might have a little bit of a chance to catch up on the worker count, but for now, Balloon looking pretty good. Looking pretty shifty. Both players are going to be soon out of minerals in their main base too as well, so we're going to be moving from one base to one base. But hey, I mean, that's a big part of Protoss play. It's just, if you can keep up in terms of base count, if you can keep up in terms of worker count, you're going to be just fine. It's one of those, you know, when you look at just the differences in worker count when they start, you know, increasing to 10, 5, 15, somewhere right around there, that's when a Protoss player could be in a little bit of trouble. Somehow Probe managed to get within the main base. I'm not 100% sure how that happened, but there's another probe that was able to get through there. IvDArium has at least one pylon on the other side of the map. We take a look. For now, IvDArium going to be holding his Stalker still within the main base. There's still an Oracle in this game, so doing a good job of just making sure that, you know, he doesn't falter, doesn't mess up, doesn't do anything that's going to be one of his hindering points. Balloon forming up a good army right here back at home, starting to get his immortal count up. IvDArium, meanwhile, does he have one? He has one, but he's going to be going straight into Colossus right now. And I like it, but it does make me worry for him, because if you go a little bit too light on your immortal count, you could find yourself in a little bit of trouble. One of the best units, at least to fight off other heavy Protoss units, stuff like Colossus, Stalkers, Immortals, is to have your own, and 3 of them total is a good number to have. I think actually 4 would be the perfect number in between a lot of Colossus. But instead of getting that robotics bay, we're looking to drop that Templar Archive, add some more gates. Wouldn't be actually too bad of a time, to be honest, to take a third base right now. Balloon really should, or either player should at this point. Because when you're jumping from one base to one base, you're going to have a very inefficient 2-base all-in. Balloon lifting up a whole set of Zealots inside the Warp Prism. Going to go drop a little bit of Harass. IvDArium, meanwhile, grabbing his third base. Range upgrade about halfway done. Charge underway. Balloon, meanwhile, doing that Congo line across the map, getting those forward pylons placed, forming some Archons along the way. I thought along the way. Looks like they're going to be formed back at home. If you're going to form Archons, you might as well form them on the other side of the map at least. But this is going to be pretty cool to watch and see. We're going to watch and see how IvDArium's defense is tested, because he will have to read react, and he will have to, of course, find a way inside the main base. Or, I mean, yeah, he'll have to find a way to defend his main base. Now, IvDArium cancels his third, puts up cannons and more gateways, so IvDArium back down to 2 base. The War Prism is still alive, but just wasn't able to find a way in. There was a good little Stalker group to greet him right there. Now, the one thing I want to say, good reactions and just good, you know, intuition from IvDArium, because a lot of players, as soon as they see an army like that, especially the Obs saw this, so the Obs saw the army coming across the map, they're going to bunch up all their units into one ball, and they're going to try to fight this. IvDArium decided to keep a few Stalkers back, because he knew, you know, it's one of those things, you don't want to let Warp Prism, you don't want to let Dual Prong kind of work you over. Both players now finally taking their third bases once again. Actually, IvDArium just taking it once again, or Balloon grabbing his for the first time. Balloon's still pressing forward. It looks like he still wants to try to maybe pull off some kind of attack right now. Now, he could go down right now, force a little bit of damage. Oh, Cutesy sent the Templar forward, was going to attempt to feed back that Mothership Core because, reminder, that Mothership Core has multiple uses in this game, and one of them, of course, is the recall ability, and the moment you feel in danger, you could utilize recall, but you know what, let's scratch that because, well, Templar decided to take care of that problem. Now we do have Immortals trying to break on through right now. This is the part of really nice part of having 3 Immortals. They're dishing out a lot of damage, breaking through a lot of these ground forces. Charge lots though do come in, and one of the things that Immortals don't work well versus it's definitely charge lots, and you could just see good micro right there from Arium, pushing everything back, saving all 3 of his Colossus, and finally working down that last Archon. And right now, maybe we'll see a little bit of a counterattack. Reminder, that's a lot of econ, a lot of resources. That's a huge amount of army that he was able to lose right there. 3 Immortals and a bunch of those Archons. That's no joke. Take a look at supply right now, 84 to 110. With this amount of splash, it's going to take a little bit of a miracle, I feel like, for Balloon to be able to win this game. Mothership Core sniped down. Arium's starting to try to work his way up into the high ground. He does have that nice little buffer as well with the charge lots on the low ground, so if in fact Balloon decided to engage into him, he should have enough time to react against all this properly. Now Balloon decided to go into Colossus himself. As you can see, already 1 out on the field, second one about to follow up. He's got the range upgrade just about done. Arium heads on home and tries to just stabilize at his 3rd base. I'm actually not sure what happened here. This is one of those things about being up all day and casting all day. I'm starting to get a little bit like lackadaisical on the obsing, and looks like somehow this 3rd base was once again sniped down or canceled because it just finished once again. Somewhere in between there, it looks like he lost it. So just kind of funny watching this game bounce back and forth. Balloon once again retaking his 3rd base again. It's one of those funny things that you look back at, 24-minute 3rd base. It's almost unimaginable to a normal macro player. But, you know, sometimes in a mirror matchup, this type of stuff happens. And especially when quirky games like that happen, when so many losses happen on both ends. Five total Colossus right now out for Arium. Arium, really it's going to be up to him at this point. I mean, I want to say with his supply, he's going to be able to dictate the battles, but with the Colossus, he's just going to have to position himself well. It's a lot about positioning in terms of PvP and late game. So we'll see how he decides to work his way, what kind of other units he decides to combine. Now, Arium deciding to drop down to 4th base, and I like this because, once again, we talked about that scenario earlier with the 1st bases. 2nd bases probably will be joining not too long of a time in terms of econ deficit. So you're going to have to move at least from 2 base to 2 base, hopefully. Magnificent force out for Arium right now. 6 Colossus, 4 Archons. As we take a look and see, we do have some Stalkers and some Zealots hanging out right under all those legs. Meanwhile, over here, we do have that Warp Prism finally coming into play a little bit more. Doing a nice job, going to be able to pick off some Zealots, and looks like he even got a Sentry out of it, so fairly successful. Definitely, I know, knowing Balloon, he would have loved to get a little bit more done, but the major reasoning for this, of course, is just to buy himself some time. Really, there's no other reason, because you wouldn't want to throw away units unless you know you could distract your opponent or hold him on the other side of the map the most you could. Now, like I mentioned, positioning is going to be a huge factor here. Arium trying to set this up. He's heading forward with the attack. You notice that Warp Prism. I'm going to assume that there's a Templar in there. Yes, indeed it is. A Templar in there just to snipe down a Mothership Core that is not anywhere near that I can tell. So really all he's got left right now is just Colossus, and you can see Arium flying over with the Warp Prism trying to really find it and not able to. Arium heading on forward. He has to be careful just not to choke himself up. Good concave for Balloon, but there is a lot of charge lots right now, I want to say, in favor of Arium. He's breaking on through little by little. Looks like that death ball that he had was able to just outmatch that initial ground army and eventually